The Council of Ministers approved the guideline of the 2026 financial year budget. River Nile State prepares to receive wounded displaced from Al Fashir. Qatar says Hamas has shown readiness to relinquish control of Gaza. Hello and welcome. The Council of Ministers, chaired by Dr. Kamel Idris, approved the general framework and budgets for the 2026 emergency budget. Presented by Finance Minister Dr. Jibril Ibrahim, the budget prioritized rehabilitating infrastructure and basic service to enable the return of citizens and government institutions to Khartoum. It also commits to supporting war efforts and mobilizing national resources. Core principles of the budget include safeguarding national security and sovereignty, relying on domestic resources, ensuring good governance, transparency, and the role of law, and affirming the Ministry of Finance full authority over public funds. The Federal Ministry of Health condemned the massacres at the Saudi Maternity Hospital in Al Fashir, which killed more than 460 civilians, including patients and their companions. The ministry also reported the death of 12 medical personnel in the attack by the Rapid Support Force, including 7 members of the Kuwaiti Patient and Aid and Security and 5 from the Sudanese Red Crescent in Bara. Federal Health Minister Professor Haytham Mohammed Ibrahim said that these attacks on health facilities and medical staff are a clear violation of the international conventions. Meanwhile, WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom expressed deep shock at the horrific crimes. The UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Sudan, Denise Brown, stated that humanitarian aid has been blocked from reaching Al Fashir for over 500 days. She reported credible evidence of execution of civilians in the city and during their attempt to flee the fighting. Brown condemned the Rapid Support Forces for confining civilians without access to food, describing it as the use of starvation as a weapon of war. She emphasized the need to document these violations to ensure justice and accountability in the future. Lieutenant General Hassan Daoud, Minister of Defense, accompanied by Police Lieutenant General Amir Abdul Mun'im Fadl, Director General of the Police Force, and representatives from the General Intelligence Service and Khartoum locality, inspected Al Tamayyuz Hospital, Al Maigoma, and Samir Health Center today. The visit focused on ensuring the continued provision of medical service, addressing the staff shortages, and providing qualified personnel. The delegation also reviewed plans to relocate cemeteries from Al-Dem Square to outside the area. A delegation from the Federal Ministry of Health, headed by Dr. Muhyiddin Hassan, Director of the National Agency for Emergency Care and Ambulance Service, reviewed the readiness of the River Nile State Ministry of Health to receive the wounded and displaced from Al Fashir following the recent militia attacks on civilians. Dr. Muhyiddin praised the performance of the hospitals and health centers in the state, affirming coordination between the federal and state health ministers and their commitment to implementing joint plans and programs. Al-Tahir Ibrahim Al-Khair, governor of Al Jazeera State, announced the start of training for mobilized force on heavy weapons and drones. Major General Abu Agla Kaikel, commander of the Sudan Shield Force, pledged the near liberation of Bara and Al Fashir, affirming his force's full support for the Sudanese Armed Force and the Popular Resistance. Major General retired Abdullah Ali Al-Tarifi, head of the Popular Resistance in the state, confirmed the readiness of Al Jazeera's people to join the front lines. The Dongola Criminal Court, headed by Judge Sami Abidoun, sentenced the defendant WK to life imprisonment under Articles 26, 50, 51 of the Criminal Code and ordered the confiscation of his mobile phone used in the crime. The defendant was found guilty of collaborating with the Rapid Support Force militia in Al-Kalakala, guiding them to citizens' homes and participating in theft and looting. Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman II and his country made it clear to Hamas that it must relinquish control of the Gaza Strip. Speaking before the American Council of Foreign Relations, he stated that Hamas expressed readiness to do so. He added that Doha is working to encourage Hamas and other Palestinian factions to lay down their arms and move to the next phase. U.S. President Donald Trump described his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping as amazing, expressing optimism about easing tension between the world's two largest economies. Beijing said both sides reached an agreement to resolve key trade issues during their first face-to-face meeting in 6 years. The two leaders had previously agreed to a trade truce in May after a tariff war that saw duties soar above 100% on both sides, though tensions remain high. This was your today's news by Sniper TV. Thank you for watching. Until next time, have a good day.